Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going to be answering some questions about myself. I put up a little poll on my Instagram story and I was basically like, hey, y'all ask me questions to ask on my YouTube channel. So that's what this is, and I got a lot of questions. And shout out to the real people that there was 2 people specifically that were commenting or putting up questions, and I know them personally, but I was like, y'all really blow it up. And they came through and they blew it up and put a bunch of different questions on there. And I know these people, so that like it's questions that they would know already, but like if you got it, you got it, okay? And so they came through, so shout out to y'all because y'all really came through and gave me a bunch of questions. But I have a few of them, so this might be like a 2-part video, which I'm okay with. We'll just come back and we'll make another one. I realized that I kind of just started posting YouTube videos and I didn't even really like tell y'all about myself. And so hopefully the questions kind of answer a lot of those things. And if not, then that just means I have to make another video that will answer questions that y'all may have. So if there are any questions that y'all have for me watching this video and you're like, oh, I want to know this about you, blah, 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 then definitely chime in and put those questions down in the comments, and then that'll just be questions that I add to the part 2 video that I'm more than likely gonna have to do. Let's go ahead and just jump right into them. I've got my iPad here with all of the questions on it that I asked from my Instagram. Just jump right in. Oh, let's run it back a little bit. Thank y'all for coming on to the video. If you haven't already, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and then press the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post anything. And thank you for all the subscribers that I do have. It means a lot to me. I am really trying to be a little bit more consistent with YouTube. With this year is one of my goals for the new year, is being consistent with posting to this platform. So hopefully it takes off. So let's go ahead and get started with this. First question: if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? Honestly, the kind of person I am is I like food. So I will literally try anything once, like no matter what like culture it's from, what kind of food it is, unless of course like I can't have it, which I don't think there's anything that I can't have, like nothing that I'm allergic to or anything. As far as food goes, like it doesn't matter. Whatever you give me, I'm gonna eat it. I'll try it at least once before I'm like, I don't like it or whatever. If I had to pick one thing, it would probably be pizza. That would probably be the thing that I would get. So if I eat it for the rest of my life, I mean, it's not technically a meal, but if it was like one thing I could eat for the rest of my life, it would be that. As far as a meal goes, like to be a little bit more specific, my favorite thing in the entire world to eat, whenever my mom makes it, I just get so excited and I will literally eat it for days until there's like none of it left. It's rice and chicken and gravy. Oh my goodness. It is so good. So good. That would be a meal that I could have for the rest of my life. It's chicken gravy, brown gravy, and then rice. You can pair it with whatever, I don't really care. But that being the main thing, chef's kiss. Love it, so good. Next question: what instrument do you play? I thought this one was kind of funny because about a year ago, I bought a guitar. I'm gonna grab it for you so y'all can see. A year ago, I bought this guitar and I was like saving my money's up and I was like, I'm gonna get a guitar because I want to teach myself how to play it, or I want to learn how to play it, and I still haven't yet. So another goal for this year is to finally learn how to play the guitar. So I bought it, so I figured, I might as well learn how to play it since I have it. I don't know how to play any instrument yet, but soon we will know how to play the guitar. This year, at some point, we're gonna learn. So that answers that question. Next question: what made you want to do YouTube? I would say what made me want to get into it is just like, it's so much fun. Like just doing content creation, like recording everything that I do already. It's just like, it seemed like a fun thing to do and like I would have fun doing it. And then eventually I do want to make it like a lifestyle that I could live off of. I would say what made me want to get into it is just seeing, like, I don't have anyone in particular that I am like, oh, I aspire to be like this YouTuber or like this influencer. But I wanted to use this platform to really like show like, you know, my life. Like I'm not the most like busy person in the sense where I'm doing all these things all the time, but I just like to document a lot of stuff that I do in my life. So honestly, like there wasn't any like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber. Like whenever I was a kid, I was like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. I don't really know what made me want to get into it other than the fact that I already was recording everything I was doing anyways, or taking pictures, or like, you know, just having these memories, you know, like why not have somewhere to post them? So that's how we are here with YouTube. So I would say that's what made me kind of get into it in the sense. Okay, next question. Favorite restaurant? Oof. Like I said, I like to eat. I actually just had Applebee's today. 10 out of 10 recommend. I had it was the bourbon chicken and shrimp and mashed potatoes. I'll put in a picture, y'all. It was so good. My favorite restaurant, I guess, so for like sit down kind of deal, I would say Olive Garden is one of the favorites. Like Chili's, just very specific things I get from each of those. Like if I go to Olive Garden, I'm gonna get like an Alfredo pasta with shrimp. And then if I go to Chili's, I'm gonna get the same thing, but like a Cajun Alfredo shrimp pasta. Also really good. And then I also like Panera. Panera bread. I don't know if that's the whole name, but Panera. Love Panera. I get a broccoli and cheddar soup in a bread bowl. And then an avocado BLT. Like just the half of it. So good. As far as fast food restaurants, McDonald's trumps every single one of them every single time. If there's a McDonald's anywhere close to me, best believe if I'm getting lunch and I need something quick, that's where I'm going. Shout out McDonald's. Next question. What has happened in the last 2 years that changed your life? So that one's kind of deep. There's been a lot of growth, I believe, for me personally. On a mental level, on an emotional level, and a spiritual level that has happened in my life over the last 2 years. I wouldn't say that I had to go through anything super drastic. I had like a relationship that didn't work out within the last 2 years that I kind of stepped away from, and I personally went through a lot afterwards, just getting back to a good mental headspace with that. That's something that kind of happened in the last 2 years that kind of changed my perspective and outlook on a lot of things as far as like relationships go. That was something that probably changed or that happened in my life that changed my life in the past 2 years. I also moved. That was a big thing too. I hadn't had to move too much in my life. I've probably moved like 2 or 3 times, but this one was probably one of the bigger ones. And so it was like a refresh, like a restart for me, which, you know, was great because, you know, everyone doesn't get the chance to like be able to move and like restart, you know, their life. So that was another thing that was pretty big for me within the last 2 years, was moving as well. And I guess I can say that that's it really. Just I've had a lot of, I think I've gotten a lot of perspective, and like I've grown in my spiritual walk with God, my faith walk. I definitely believe that there's a lot of areas in my faith that has grown because of certain things that I've been through within the last 2 years, that I've grown a lot on the spiritual side of things. Also like mentally, like just how I think about things or how I process things. I would also say that like maturity has been a really big thing within the last 2 years. So I've seen myself mature in a lot of different ways. So that would be the answer to that question. So next one. Do you like cold or hot weather? Honestly, being in Texas, because that's where I am, I live in Texas, it's weird because whenever it's hot, you wish for the cold weather, and whenever it's cold, you wish for the warmer weather. So I don't have one in particular that I like, I would say. Well, that's a lie. I like the colder weather more than the warmer weather. Layering is easier versus like trying to remove layers like in the summertime. Like you can only put on so much before, like, or you can only take off so much, if that makes sense, versus when it's cold, if you have too much on, that's just another layer you can take off, and it, you know, it still works and you're still warm, whatever. So that answers that question. I like the colder weather better than the warmer weather, for sure. Next question. What's your favorite candy? So I'm a big chocolates girl. I also like the fruity candies and like the gummy candies and stuff like that, but I prefer chocolate over them. So if I had to have a chocolate or a candy, I'd prefer to get Reese's, but the unwrapped mini ones specifically. I also really like white chocolate Kit Kats. 10 out of 10. Those are delicious. If you haven't had them, you need to go get them. They're amazing. And then another really big one for a really long time was the Hershey's cookies and cream one. For forever. I even had a birthday cake made. My aunt made me a birthday cake one year in the shape of the Hershey's bar, the packaging of the cookies and cream Hershey's bar. It was really cute. It's that, and then also Rolos for a really long time, up until I'd say 2 or 3 years ago, and then I've been on the Reese's kick for a minute now. So it changes. So there's no guarantee that it's gonna be these for a while, but for right now, it's Reese's and white chocolate Kit Kats for sure. As far as like fruity candies go, I would say the Sour Patch watermelon gummies. I like those probably the best. If I'm not having chocolate and any other candy, it would be those. Next question is, what's your favorite number? I would say my favorite number is 3, and not for any particular reason other than the fact that I'm the 3rd child in my family out of the 6 of us, is that it's 3. That would be the only reason that 3 is one of my favorite numbers. Do you prefer being inside or outside? Honestly, a little bit of both, because I love to be outside though, because more outside than inside, because I love to step out. If I ever have the opportunity to get dressed up, I will take advantage of it and I will be outside. For sure, I like being outside more than inside, but I do enjoy my inside time too, because anytime I can just stay home and do nothing and like lay in the bed and have a lazy day, I will take full advantage of that as well. So I would say outside more than inside, but I definitely do take that time being inside and I value that. So outside for sure, just because I get to step out and I get to look good, because I like to get dressed and like, you know, feel good about myself and like go outside. But inside time too definitely is valued as well. Next question is, what is your favorite time of the day? I would say my favorite time of the day is definitely like during the evening, like golden hour, favorite time. Love when the sun's coming down and I get to watch sunsets. That's a big thing for me, is scenery as well. Love to watch the sunset or sunrises, but I'm not getting up that early to watch the sunrise unless I have to go to work. So it's most likely gonna be sunset, and then sitting outside and like just watching it go down. It's just, that's my favorite time of the day. So the evening during like golden hour, sun setting, evening time, favorite time of the day for sure. When did you realize that you wanted Jesus more than anything? I grew up in the things of God. I grew up in church. It's honestly all I've ever known. And whenever I want to say when I turned 16, made the decision to fully commit to the things of God. And now beforehand, I was still going to church. I'm still worshiping, still praying, still reading my Bible, still being an active Christian, I would say. The motives behind it was that this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is all I know to do. It's either this and go to heaven, or don't do it and go to hell. So I was like, I'm not going to take that chance, whether heaven is real or not, or if hell is real or not. I'm going to just do the right thing. And, you know, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is what I was raised to. This is what I've been taught. We're just going to do the right thing and go from there. There was a night watch service that I was at, or like a New Year's Eve service. And we were given the opportunity like to go up for prayer and get prayer before, you know, going into the new year. So you go into the new year like on a clean slate. And I went up for prayer. Now, mind you, I've done this every year for the years prior. But there was just something very particular about this specific year. It was whenever I was 16. So I'm 21 now. So that's 5 years. That's 20. I don't know, what year is that? You know, math is a little complicated right now. But that's whenever I made the decision to fully like run with this thing, and if I was gonna do it, I was gonna do it for myself. That's whenever I decided that, you know, I'm gonna do this thing for real, and I'm gonna really dig deep into learning God on a more personal level, and not just doing it because, oh, my parents serve God or this is all I know to do. I want to say that it was like a thing of repetition. Like I realized like, oh, I've done this year after year, and then now, you know, we're in the same place, or it feels like I'm in the same place. Kind of being done with the repetition of, oh, it's a new year, you know, pray, ask God to forgive you, and then go on with the rest of the year. I really took into perspective, like, no, we're gonna be different this year, or we're gonna, you know, really hone in on spiritual things this year. It would be whenever I think I fully made a commitment to be like, it's God over everything for me, whenever I turn 16. What is your favorite color and why? My favorite color used to be, and still is kind of, yellow. Yellow was my favorite color just because it's such a happy color, and I feel like I'm a very happy person, so yellow just makes sense. You can see my roses back here. I got some yellow roses, and they're my favorite thing in the entire world right now. Like, these are one of my favorite things right now is these yellow roses. But yellow for sure was my favorite color growing up. It still is today, but I like a lot of neutral tones as well. So like the blacks, whites, and grays, like that combination, love those. Love a good monochrome moment. And then also like browns and neutrals and tans and like, you know, khaki and all those things. The next question I have is, how have you seen God working in your life lately? A couple of months ago, I was at church, and our apostle had been mentioning or speaking on the fact that around that particular time that we were going to begin to see present day miracles. So like miracles that Jesus did back in the times of the Bible, we would see them now in this day and age. And for me, I was like, okay, like I'm ready to see it, because when you hear these stories, or these are like, they've been stories that you've heard or been told like your whole life, never really encountered a miracle kind of experience, then you're hungry for it, or at least I was. And so whenever he was like, this is the season, or my apostle, whenever he was saying that this is the season where, you know, we're gonna start seeing miracles breaking forth, I'm like, okay, I'm rocking and rolling with it. Like, let's do it. Like, I want to see something happen that's like totally out of the ordinary, that like only can be explained by a move of God. Like, man can't say that they did anything, or like they didn't have any part of it. It was one of the Sundays I had to lead my worship team at church, and I was just kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know, like my emotions were a little bit all over the place. And so I ended up leading the worship service. It went well, and then after the word was given, our apostle came up and he was like, is there anyone here that's believing for a specific miracle from God today? Then now's your moment. Like, come up to the front, like let's pray for you and let's see this thing get done. I was like, I don't see anything or know of anything in my personal life that I am wanting to see a miracle happen for or from or whatever. My mom whispered to me and she was like, hey, do you believe that God will heal you of your stigmatism today? And I was like, you know what? I've never thought about it. A little backstory. I've worn glasses since I was 4. It's because my left eye turned inward just whenever I didn't have glasses on to kind of correct the vision. Always just something I've figured, you know, I'm just gonna live with the stigmatism. I always have to wear glasses, like no big deal. My mom mentioned that Sunday, she was like, hey, do you think that, or do you believe you have the faith to be healed from that today? And I was like, yeah, like sure, why not? And like, it's just not something I thought about. Like, I guess I've gotten so comfortable with having astigmatism or having to wear glasses that I didn't think twice about it. I have the faith to believe that it could happen today. Like, do you? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. So I went up to the altar that day and I got prayer, and the apostle was asking if I was comfortable with like going through the process being open like in front of our congregation. And I was like, yeah, like, because how I thought about it was like, if God's about to do this thing, you know, then I want people to see it, you know, so that can encourage them. You know, sitting there and like he's praying for me, and like in my head I'm just like, God, I'm scared. Like, I don't know if this is something that you can do for me, or I don't know. but like I'm here and I'm ready to see it happen. If this is your will, if it's all lining up, if this is what's supposed to happen, then I'm here for it. I believe I have the faith that it's gonna get done today. So he prayed for me twice. I didn't even realize that it happened. But normally if I take my glasses off, my left eye immediately goes to the center. And I usually have to turn my eye or like focus my eye to like look straight. It's usually super blurry and I don't see anything. And then whenever it crosses in, I see double of things. But he prayed for me once and I didn't see a change. If I'm being completely honest, the first time he prayed for me, I was like, okay, nothing is different. And I was like, is it my fault? Do I not have enough faith? Like, what's going on? So then I was kind of getting a little down about it, a little like, I don't know if this is gonna happen. And then he was like, okay, we're gonna pray again. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So then he prayed for me again. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus hard. I'm gonna like close my eyes. I'm gonna really like try to focus in on what God could be doing in this moment. He prayed for me and I opened my eyes again and it was the same. And it just got on me a little bit more. And I was just like, this, I don't know if this is happening for me today. And at that point, I'm like, you know, it's a public thing now. Like, there's all these people around me. Like, they're looking to see if this will happen. My parents had the faith that it's going to happen. At this point, I had the faith that it was going to happen. But I'm just like a little bit like, I don't know. I pray a third time. And I was like, okay, like, let's do it. And I remember saying right before the third prayer, I was like, God, if you're going to do this, then I believe that you're going to do this. I believe that it will happen. And like, I remember saying that. I closed my eyes. He like put his hand on my head. I went backwards for a little bit. Like I leaned back and then I came back to the front. I kept my eyes closed for a little bit and then I opened them. And my apostle, I didn't even realize that I didn't have to force my eye not to turn inward. It just was straight. And I didn't see double of him. It's getting me a little bit emotional just thinking about it. Didn't have to try to focus my eye to look at him. And in that moment, I was like, wait, what is happening? Realized that I had been healed from the stigmatism. You have glasses on now. I don't want y'all to be confused about this or anything, but I have glasses on now to help me read because it is still a little blurry whenever I'm trying to focus on something. So I need them to drive and to read. And usually that's most of the time because like my job involves me reading and I like need to look at stuff to read or whatever. So I do wear them most of the time, but if I don't have to wear them, then I don't, because I believe that God did heal me that Sunday from needing. I'm gonna take them off so you can kind of see. I can turn it inwardly if I wanted to, like to focus. So like looking at the camera right now, like both my eyeballs are straight, but if I focus, it like this one kind of turns in a little bit. If you can see, I'm not sure. But that's usually, that would be like that whenever I took my glasses off. Like now, I can see that like the camera's right there. I can like see where everything is. I can't really read anything like unless I'm super duper close, which is why I still wear the glasses. Major thing that God has done in my life lately. And honestly, like I just want to tell the world about it because I never thought that a modern day miracle could be done. So if you needed a little bit of encouragement that modern day miracles still happen, that is one of them. Like I am living proof of a modern day miracle. Next question I have is, what advice could you give to people that are just now starting their walk with Christ? I would say that discipline is probably going to be one of the biggest things. Even for me now, I would say since 2017, so for the last 6 years, I would say that I've really been true to and committed to walking with God. Discipline has been one of the hardest things for me. I'll have the motivation to want to do it. To stay consistent with it would also be an issue. Being disciplined and like whether you feel like it or not, you know, take that time and like pray and like, hey God, show me what it is that you want me to, you know, be doing right now. Like I want to spend time with you, I just don't know how. Okay God, sit for a minute, you know, like maybe have some worship music playing. Just ask God. Like a lot of times I think people overcomplicate how simple it is to approach God. Like it simply is making that time for him. Sitting down, not having any distractions. How I would personally do it is I put on some worship music, I have that playing, and then I'd say a prayer like, God, like I'm here, I want to spend time with you, you know, like reveal yourself to me, like show me a scripture or lead me kind of where you want me to go. And usually how I hear God's voice is through song or through like song lyrics. That's usually how I feel most ministered to, and something, it's just so it's such a God thing that usually whenever I feel that I don't hear him, I'll hear a song that relates to like something that's going on in my life that I can kind of relate it to, and I'm like, okay, so you are still there, you know, even though, you know, he's always there, but it just kind of is that reminder that I need. But I would definitely say to make that time, to be disciplined and having that time, you know, sit there, play you some worship music, grab your Bible, definitely grab a pen and paper as well, because God speaks to us, to all of us differently. And like I said, I hear God through song lyrics, and so I would hear that, and I'll just kind of just start to write what I'm hearing, and then from there I would just kind of continue writing. And I just, like, honestly, it's something that I lose control of, and I'd find myself writing something that is like God literally writing through my hand, if that makes sense. That kind of sounds a little weird, but that's probably the best way I can describe it. And sometimes you may not hear his voice specifically, like you may hear a person talking to you. It could be different. Like I said, I hear it through song lyric. Other people do actually verbally hear the voice of God. There's so many different ways that God could speak to you. Just actually setting aside that time, making it the same time every day is probably another good like pointer I would give. To start out with your walk with God, to keep it consistent. So if you're doing it for that same time every day, then like you have something to look forward to, like for that time. Like, this is my time with God. Like, I'm going to set this time aside for him. So that's the advice that I would give for any new Christians out there that are just starting to get into the things of God and want to be a little bit more consistent in that walk. I would definitely say that. What is a talent that you wish you had, if any? So I would say that my talents, first off, is that I sing and I used to dance. I believe I could still dance if I wanted to, but singing and dancing are like my main talents, I guess. I wish I could do was draw. Like, my brother is an amazing artist, and I really wish I could draw as well. Like, I can do a really, really good stick figure, man, but that's about it. Like, if you give me like lines to trace with, oh yeah, it'll be beautiful. But like, just something off the top of my head, no. Like, just looking at something, can't do it. So if I could have a talent, it definitely would be drawing. Another question I have, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and end with this one, is what is a favorite Bible verse for you, and what does it mean? Or what is your favorite Bible verse, and what does it mean to you? Again, this is kind of weird because I don't have a lot of specific favorite things, but I do have like a lot of scriptures that minister to me during different times. So right now there isn't any specific scripture that's like, this is something that stands out. I'll give y'all like the verse of the day, and we'll kind of like ride off of that one. Usually I don't have a favorite Bible verse, and I just kind of like go about my day with like, I'll feel led to look up a certain thing. Like, let's go back to like sitting in private time with God. So if I have like instead of having a favorite Bible verse, like in my prayer time or my quiet time with God, I think about what's something that's been going on in my life lately. Like, let's say for example, it's trust. And so then I'd look up scriptures about trust, and then I'll kind of just go through those lists, things like that. So that's kind of how I find verses that I can like meditate on and like kind of have it in my spirit, like during the week or whatever, during those times with God. Let's just go ahead and look at the verse of the day. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 7, and I'm going to read it in the NLT version. And it says, it's not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What's important is that God makes the seed grow. That's actually really good. I didn't get to look at that yet today. That's a great verse. There's a verse for you for today. It's not necessarily my favorite verse. I wouldn't say that I have one, but that's a verse for you guys for today. Actually, an idea I think I had is that I wanted to start my videos with like a verse of the day. If y'all think that's a cool idea, let me know in the comments what you think about that, starting each video out with like, this is the verse of the day kind of deal. So let me know what y'all's thoughts are about that. Definitely put it in the comment section below. Pick it up. Hopefully if it's a good thing and we're kind of rocking and rolling with it, then we'll start it in the next video. If not, we might still do it anyway, so who knows. I'm gonna stop there with the questions. There are still a ton more, so I am gonna do a part 2. If there are any other questions or things that y'all wanna know about me, definitely put them in the comment section below, and then I will ask them in the part 2 video for the questions. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being a part of the family, the Maya Missions family. Go on ahead again and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and then go ahead and click the bell to turn on all post notifications so that you get notified anytime that I post. And like and share the video as well. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and thanks for chatting.